Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for April 12th, 2023 from the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. It was another beautiful day. It was quite warm. You can see there were a few clouds in the morning, but after that it was just clear skies, and the winds throughout the morning were mostly out of the west. Here's a pair of northern shovelers flying by. Here's an American coot flying, and I always like seeing their feet. Here are 3 buffleheads, which are cute little ducks. This brown creeper was back in the woods behind the Hawk Watch. And I also saw my first morning cloak butterfly of the spring. This osprey gave a nice look as he came right towards us. This chipping sparrow was perched up in a tree, and you can see that dark line through the eye along with the red cap. Here's a killdeer, which is a type of plover that likes to call very loudly as it flies around. Here's an adult male northern harrier or gray ghost. Here's an eastern phoebe, which is really the only flycatcher we see this early in the season. And when they perch, they like to bob their tail up and down. Here's a white-winged scoter that was out on the bay. Here's an immature bald eagle. And at that same time, we had 2 adult bald eagles chasing each other around. Here's a sharp-shinned hawk, and we know this is an adult because of the orange barring underneath. We know it's a sharp-shinned rather than a Cooper's because of the small head and rather stocky-looking wings and relatively shorter tail. Just more compact, less lanky-looking than a Cooper's hawk with a smaller head. This eastern meadowlark perched in a tree and sang to us. Here's the side view of a female American kestrel, and you can see those pointy wingtips because it's a falcon. Here's a northern harrier. Note the owl-like face, relatively long tail, and it holds its wings up into a shallow V or dihedral. Here's another sharp-shinned hawk, and we can see the really squared-off tail tip that's characteristic of this species. Throughout the morning, a lot of the migrants were really high and hard to spot against the blue sky. And mid-morning, we had a lake breeze kick in. And so someone went over to Frisbee Hill to scout over there, and then all of us eventually ended up moving over there around 1 o'clock. That's the spot that we count from when the wind is coming off of the lake from a northeasterly direction. So starting now, these photos are from Frisbee Hill. Here we have one of the osprey that nest over there on the cell phone tower. Here's a juvenile red-shouldered hawk, and we can see those pale crescents or translucent crescents near the wingtips. Here's an adult broad-winged hawk, and remember, we just started seeing broadwings. We had our first ones yesterday. And broadwings are just a small, compact buteo. You can see it's a dark tail with a single wide white band. The adults have a dark trailing edge to the wing, so it gives the wing kind of a really defined outline. And the wingtips are only made up of 4 feathers, 1, 2, 3, 4, giving the wings a more pointed appearance than species like red-tailed hawk or red-shouldered hawk. Here's another adult broad-winged hawk showing the same field marks, so note the pointed wingtips and the dark tail with the wide white band on it. And since broadwings are smaller, when they circle, they do tighter circles than larger buteos like red tails and red shoulders. Eventually, the westerly winds overpowered the lake breeze, and so we moved back to the hawk platform just before 4 o'clock p.m., hoping for a big flight to end the day. Unfortunately, the flight never really picked up that much, but we did have some activity. Here's an adult bald eagle. Here's an osprey, and notice the very different shape from that last bald eagle. Ospreys usually have a very strong crook to their wing. Here's a juvenile red-tailed hawk, so we can see that dark patagial bar in the shoulder area, along with the belly band. And we see that it's a juvenile because it does not have a dark trailing edge to the wing, and the tail is more of a brown color with banding rather than that red tail that the adults show. Here's one of the local ospreys coming back with a fish. And one more look at the osprey with the fish as it came over us. Here we have a small bird with pointed wings, so we know it's a small falcon, and it looks pretty light underneath with a distinctive facial pattern. So this is an American kestrel. A merlin would appear darker underneath and have a stronger flight style that's less buoyant than that of the kestrel. And here's one last adult male northern harrier hunting the marsh in front of the Hawkwatch platform. Taking a look at the eBird checklist from Braddock Bay Park, I had 66 species. And I only put in partial checklists from Frisbee Hill and from the Hawkwatch at the end of the day. Taking a look at hawk count for our migrant raptor totals, today we had 807 turkey vultures, 1 osprey, 12 bald eagles, 11 northern harriers. For accipiters, we had 83 sharpies and 2 coops. For buteos, we had 15 red shoulders, 30 broadwings, and 89 red tails. And for falcons, we had 13 kestrels and 1 merlin, for a total of 1,064 migrating raptors today. That brings our April total to 13,827 and our season total to 22,999. I had 2 new species for the season today, which were pine warbler and field sparrow. Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, it's looking sunny with a high around 75. Winds west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. So those are great winds that are going to stay that direction the whole day. So I would expect it to be a pretty big flight. My only real concern would be that the clear blue skies will make it difficult to spot birds when they get up high. So that was one problem we had this morning, and it's the one reason we sometimes like cloudier days rather than sunny days. But overall, looking like great winds, and we should have a big day for migration. There's a slight chance of a lake breeze, but I think the winds are going to stay strong enough that that won't be an issue for tomorrow. For Friday, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds with a high in the low 60s, winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Would only expect light to moderate migration, so looks like finally a little bit of a break for those of us who have been really working hard every day at the Hawkwatch. And for Saturday, looking mostly cloudy with a high in the upper 50s, and again, northeast winds at 5 to 10, so only expecting light to moderate migration. So again, a little bit of a break. All right, we've had a couple good days in a row, and looks like tomorrow will be another great day out at the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. And we're coming into this middle part of the season, a lot of raptors migrating and a lot of other bird species migrating as well. You never know what you're going to get. So looking forward to getting out there tomorrow to see what we can find. Hope to see you out at the platform soon. From Lyco Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.